So before we enter our college, we study in school for about 15 years. But the major criticism of the Indian education system is that it concentrates more on rote learning rather than teaching us the practical skills of life. Okay, major focus or the entire focus, I would say, of our teachers, of our parents, and even for ourselves is the grades or the marks that we attain and not what we learn. Nobody cares about what you learn in school. Okay, so there are thousands of graduates who are graduating every year in India, but then we see newspaper reports and various other reports like these. Okay, so today we are going to discuss the new education policy 2020, which has been released very recently by the government. So this is the first major education policy in past 34 years. Okay, so in 1986, the Rajiv Gandhi government brought the national education policy that we were following so far. There were some changes made to it in 1992, and then later in 2002, right to education was made a fundamental right, but the major education policy was brought up in 1986. Before that, in 1976, by the 42nd Amendment to the Constitution of India, education was shifted from the state list to the concurrent list, which means that now not only the state government but also the union government will have the right to formulate laws on education. Okay, so now understand as to what is this new education policy is all about and understand its salient features. So it was drafted by a 9-member committee which was headed by Dr. K. Kasturi Rangan, and it was finally submitted to the government in 2019, which came very recently as the new education policy 2020. So it has changed the entire education structure in India. Okay, so far we were following a 10+2 system. Okay, so there were two stages wherein till 10th we were taught some subjects, and after that we had to choose between three streams. Okay, it was commerce, science, and humanities. But a major issue was that once you choose a stream, you cannot choose the subjects within that stream. Okay, those subjects were more or less fixed. So now you'll be given that flexibility as well. So the new system is 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. Now you must be wondering that it adds to 15. So yes, the new education system actually operates or is become applicable from your preschool itself. So the first stage is the foundational stage, and it is obvious that 85% of the child's brain's development happens in this age, okay, from age group 3 to 8. So it is very important to teach certain skills to the students that actually help them in life, and it's important to teach them at that tender age itself. Okay, so there will be certain basic activities, basic languages, and basic skills that will be taught to young students at that time. The second stage is something called a discovery stage. Okay, so this stage starts from class 3 to class 5. In this stage you will be taught certain numeral skills, certain linguistic skills as well, and the classroom education will be interaction based. Okay, so it's very important for a student in this age to understand as to how to properly and effectively interact with a lot of people with different interests. Okay, it's very important, so that will be done in this stage. One major criticism, or I would say a sort of confusion that people has here, is that people believe that mother tongue as a mode of instruction has been made compulsory till 5th standard. However, that is not so. The policy clearly says that wherever possible, mother tongue shall be used till standard 5 and if possible till standard 8. But wherever possible gives that cushion to the schools to use it or not to use it. Okay, they have to use it, but it is not compulsory and it is not being imposed on anyone. Okay, but a major thing that is to be required to be done by all the schools all across the country is to teach 3 languages to students, and 2 of them have to be Indian languages. But I think that was already being done, particularly in North India, where most of the states do not have a regional or a state language. We are taught Hindi and Sanskrit as Indian languages and English as a foreign language. And in other states where there is a state language or a regional language, they are generally taught that regional or state language along with Hindi or Sanskrit, and English is generally taught all over the country. So that was already a prevailing system. Now we move to the third stage, which is the second last stage, which starts from standard 6th to standard 8th. Now this stage has a lot of new improvements to see. Okay, so this is an experimental stage wherein we will be taught interdisciplinary. So basically we'll be taught the basics of all the subjects, so then later in life we can make an informed choice as to where our interest lies. Okay, so we'll be taught science, social science, and a lot of other subjects so that we can make a good choice later. One very important improvement, I would say very welcome move, is that students will be taught basic coding from class 6th itself now. Okay, so that is a tried and tested formula from China, and it has already been implemented very successfully in China. We can see that Chinese people are really good at all this. So that is been borrowed from there, and it will be implemented in India as well. And not just China, there are various other countries that actually has implemented this formula very successfully. Other than that, this is something that has been borrowed from Europe, and it is really a good thing to do. Some vocational skills will also be taught to students. Okay, now what are vocational skills? Is skills like carpentry, plumbing, and so on. Okay, so these are certain skills that we see generally at a lower level, and basically my mom used to tell me ki pad le, otherwise you'll become a carpenter. Okay, things like that. But that is not how it works. These things are also really important. These are extremely important skills that you need to inculcate in life. So a student in the third stage will go 10 days bagless to school. Okay, without your bag, you'll have a 10-day internship where, with the help of local experts, you'll learn all these skills also. Now let's move to the last stage. Last stage is for 4 years, from standard 9 to standard 12. And this is one stage that is really cool, and I'm extremely jealous because I was not given this option. So this stage gives you flexibility to choose your own subjects. Okay, so I took commerce in class 11th and 12th. So I had those set subjects that I had to study. My friends who took science and humanities also had some set subjects. But now a student can himself study accounts, history, as well as physics at the same time. Okay, so you can choose the subjects that actually are of your interest, even if they are of diversified nature. That is really cool, and it's actually a very positive move from the government this time. Other than that, there was a lot of stress regarding 12th board examination. That stress will be done away with, and 10th and 12th board examination will now be taken twice every year, and the weightage has been reduced from these exams as well, so that students are not under a lot of stress. Other than that, a really good thing that is being done is your report card will involve 360-degree holistic report. Okay, so when I used to go to a parent teacher meeting, it only reflected the academic result, and it used to be extremely bad, and I used to be extremely embarrassed in front of my parents and teachers at that time, because that will not happen anymore. Because say if you're not good in one of the fields, you may be doing good in the other field, but the earlier report card did not actually reflect that. So now everything that you do in school will be reflected. One other thing that the new policy has brought is the self-evaluation. Okay, so you can evaluate yourself. Now, why is this important? Is because after your school and after your college, in school and college, we have teachers and parents to guide us to basically evaluate our performances. But after you go out of college, it is you who is going to decide or basically evaluate if you are doing right or wrong, or basically you're utilizing your potential or not. Okay, so this is a skill that will be developed from school itself now, and it's a really important and a useful skill that you can actually use later in life. So I was wondering, okay, this is a really good system for students, but what about the teachers? Because they are products of the earlier system. How will they adapt to the new system? For that, there will be a national comprehensive training program for teachers as well, which will be actually done by the NCTE in consultation with the NCERT. And by 2030, a 4-year integrated B.Ed degree for teachers will be made compulsory. Okay, so teachers will also be trained in this particular new system. Now let's see as to what the government has brought with respect to higher education, basically the college education. So a major problem in Indian college education or the higher education is that there is only 26.3% gross enrollment ratio. So only 26.3% of the Indian students actually apply to college or basically study in college, which is roughly 1/4, and it's a problematic issue. So by 2035, basically in next 15 years, the government wants to make it 50%. So there will be at least 2 crore students who are out of college will be brought to college. Okay, what are the changes made to it is a credit transfer system will be created. So for example, you're doing a particular course, and after some time into that course, you realize that you do not want to do that course. Okay, you do not want to pursue it and you want to do something else. You can always do that, and the credit that you've already accumulated in your course will be transferred to your new course. That was not an option that was given to us earlier, because earlier the only option was to drop out of it without anything in hand, or to complete it by hook or crook. Okay, that was the only option. So now if you do a course within 1 year and you want to go out of it, you will be given a certificate. After 2 years, you will be given a diploma. After 3 years, you'll be given a bachelor's degree, and after 4 years, you'll be given a research bachelor's degree. Okay, so all the courses will be for 4 years now in the bachelor's stage. Now you must be wondering कि law भी 4 साल का हो जाएगा. That is not true, because law and medical are two exceptions to it, and they will not be governed by the new policy. They will be governed by the older policy itself. So they will be for 5 years and the 5.5 years that MBBS generally happen. So that is how it will work. Now, the new policy also mentions that there will be top universities, basically top 100 universities in the world will be invited to India. Although I feel this is too ambitious to talk right now, but there may be in future we might see Oxford or Cambridge setting their campuses in India. I'm not sure about it. Let's see what happens. Other than that, there will be some universities called MERUs. Okay, so these are multidisciplinary educational and research universities, which should be on the model of IITs and IIMs. So IITs and IIMs are certain specialized universities, and these universities will be multidisciplinary, where a lot of things will be taught to you in a multidisciplinary manner, but at an international standard. Okay, so these universities are going to be of a really high standard. Other than that, there will be an umbrella body to govern all the universities in India. So this body will be called Higher Education Commission of India, and under this umbrella body, there will be four wings. The first one is National Higher Education Regulatory Council, which will be responsible for regulation, General Education Council for standards, Higher Education Grants Council for funding, and National Accreditation Council for providing accreditation to colleges. Now, these are four major wings that are in under this. Something we realized during this lockdown and even after this also, that we will become more reliant on digital learning or online learning in near future. For that as well, a provision is made in the new policy wherein a national tech forum will be created, where we will be given a platform so that we can actually exchange our ideas freely by the use of technology. Okay, a national assessment scheme will also be created called Parak, which will assess whatever is going on with respect to the education system around the country. So let's expect that it produces good results. So that's it about this session. Thank you. If you like our sessions, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon so that you don't miss any updates from us. Keep writing to us, keep writing all the queries in the comment box, keep following us. Thank you so much.